A very simple way to instantly improve your life is just by simply cutting out all the negative people and all the toxic people from your life. And everyone knows who is it that they should be getting rid of. Everyone knows who is it that is being a bad influence. Everyone knows who is it that doesn't have the best intentions when it comes to interacting with you. There's just not a lot of people are willing to go to that extent, and not a lot of people are actually willing to take the steps necessary to cut these people out, even though they absolutely should. And you don't have to be rude about it. You don't have to be aggressive. It's just you can gradually communicate less with people, and then you can ultimately go to the point where you no longer have to communicate with them. And a lot of people are actually not even going to notice, by the way, because even if you feel like a lot of people are very close to you and they're like really interested in you, people are not really mostly that interested in you. They're mostly just there because they're used to communicating with others, and they're mostly just there because it's convenient. So as soon as you're going to make it less convenient for them to communicate with you, they're actually quite often going to stop doing this by themselves. So it's not even going to be this like huge dramatic breakup moment where you're going to stop communicating with someone. It's mostly just going to die out slowly. And I got lucky with this because I did learn this lesson during the early years of my adulthood, because I was always kind of an outsider within the neighborhood that I lived in. And that ultimately led me to the point where I just didn't really keep on communicating with the people around me after like the age of 16, 17, because I just generally moved into a different neighborhood. I found a different job, I started doing different things, and then ultimately I left the country and relocated to a different country. And I got so lucky with this, because nowadays, when I see these people that did stay within the neighborhood and that still communicate with everyone that is basically also from the same neighborhood, like they are not doing well. They are feeding each other's dysfunctions in a very weird way. So for example, a lot of them have substance issues, substance abuse issues. And then the people who didn't have these substance abuse issues also developed them, because they would just spend a lot of time with the people that do. And it's a very weird thing. And now at this point, I'm kind of like looking at them and I realize that there is no way they can escape. They're already like in their early 30s. Like there's no way they're going to leave. And there's no way they're going to find a way out. And they are basically going to spend the rest of their lives in this like very weird, miserable existence where they're not able to leave their neighborhood, and they're going to do very average jobs, live a very average life, and ultimately that's where they're going to stay. So I got very lucky that I got disconnected from this early, because it's not even that I'm more gifted than they are, because a lot of them were actually smarter than me when we were younger. It's just I got lucky that I kind of basically relocated myself, and I got lucky that I kind of disconnected myself from them. And that ultimately kind of leads to my point where you have to control the people around you. You have to control the people that you interact with. You don't have to control them in an extent where you control a person, but you have to control who is it that you're actively interacting with, because that is ultimately going to dictate how is it that you're going to live your life. So if there is somebody that is being clearly weird, is clearly bringing a lot of negativity in your life, you have to get rid of them. And once again, it doesn't have to be this huge dramatic thing where you start an argument with them, where you guys break up, where you guys no longer talk, where you become enemies. It's just like stop communicating with them as much. Maybe if you still want to keep them around, communicate with them less, communicate with them rarely. So for example, I do have this friend from the old neighborhood that I come from that I know for the entirety of my life. We met each other when we were in the first grade, and now we know each other for like more than 20 years. So like I don't want to fully get rid of him, but he's quite dysfunctional and he brings a lot of issues, and he kind of brings out a lot of qualities in me that I don't really enjoy. So I still keep him around. I communicate with him from time to time. Sometimes we meet when I come back home, but it's just like you don't have to constantly make them a part of your life if you know that that is not going to be a good thing, and if you know that they are going to affect you negatively, because you do get to control how much is it that you interact with people and who is it that you interact with. So like just do the things that make the most sense for you. Don't hide behind the excuse that you don't want to be mean, that you don't want to be rude, that you don't want to just like randomly ghost people, because you absolutely should randomly ghost people. You should not keep people around that, first of all, are going to drag you down, And secondly, I would actually even go to the extent where I would say that you shouldn't really keep people around that are not benefiting you in some sort of a way. And by that, I don't mean anything weird or sketchy. I don't mean any like material things or anything like that. It's just like people that actively make you want to be a better person. Those are the people that you should keep around. And then ultimately, if you don't really have these kind of people, like you don't really need anyone, because nowadays I do have a few friends. I don't have a lot of them. There are only a few people out there that I generally communicate with on a daily basis. But in general, you don't need a lot of people around you. You can just kind of do your own thing by yourself. And then ultimately, when you are going to get to the point where you are going to be just generally a more interesting human being, you can always find people for a short period of time you can hang out with. You can always go on a vacation. You can find friends. You can find women. You can find men that you want to hang out with. You can find whatever the fuck is it that you want. So it's not really that big of a deal. Like if you don't want to be alone, you don't really have to be alone. But yeah, ultimately choosing the people around you and choosing who is it that you interact with, the idea of having basically your best intentions prioritized is basically going to make a huge difference when it comes to the way that you live, and is generally going to improve your life quality significantly. So that is a very easy thing you can do already now that is going to make you significantly less stressed and just going to make you live your life in a significantly better way. Thank you guys for watching the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.